Alright everyone, grand final time. We're heading straight in here with Washed Up going up against Granit Gaming. This is the HeroesHype Premier Series and we're in the grand final, another best of 3, and Washed Up is playing with a bit of a different lineup here today for reasons mentioned in earlier matches. We can talk about that in a moment, but let's introduce the lineup first. We have Chris on his PPK account on Leoric, HeroesHype on Jaina, Banana H on Ana, Masquerade on Maiev, and Nick on Diablo. And over to the right side of the map, Granit Gaming with Swamp Grotta on ETC, Shirionto on Junkrat, Galnagulna on Toranda, Laub on Murden, and Tai on Malthael for this first game on Dragonshire. And yeah, especially Washed Up, obviously, playing with a very different lineup here today. As I said before, this is not Division S. This tournament is in no way associated with Heroes Lounge. It is a series hosted by HeroesHype, which is why the teams are absolutely allowed to play with different lineups. And some of the original Washed Up players, they couldn't make it, some are on vacation. So instead, we're having a lineup where Nick, the old method player, is playing, where we have Chris in there, and also 2 players that are in other Division S teams. And so far these guys have been highly successful. I mean, they've been absolutely crushing it. They honestly embarrassed some of their opponents, and they were incredibly dominant in those matches. Which is exactly why I'm pretty hyped for this particular match, because now they go up against Granit Gaming. And we haven't seen Granit Gaming in a while. One of the matches that they had in Division S was actually cancelled. They got a free win there because their opponent couldn't make any of the times, and then after the match was already delayed for more than a week, at the end the admin just decided, listen guys, we already gave you extra time, but we have to give them free win right now. We can't play this out any longer. So it was a bit unfortunate, but didn't work out any other way. But now that we have Granit Gaming back to business, the question is just simply, can they perform here on the same level that they do in Division S? Because these guys have been pretty much rocking the season so far. But this is a tournament, there's different rules, and we'll find out if they can take this victory against Washed Up 2.0 or not. Points obviously are accumulated for both of the teams as we're heading towards a grand final. In terms of tournaments here. This tournament, on the other hand, is going to end today, and with this series in particular. Level 4 talents already in. We're having Lauber the entire time sharking around on his little love cloud and trying to get his storm bolts. Wants to go into the quest here. Went also on level 4, by the way, into the reverberation. So we're not seeing him with the second thunderclap focus here. And in the bot lane, we're having HeroesHype in a bit of trouble because he is about to get jumped here. But the Stormbolt is a little bit too short. HeroesHype just moved back in the nick of time, and that helped him to get out of harm's way here. So good for the German player, the former Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2 pro. But his team is still suffering a little bit because there's enormous pressure on them, since both of those shrines are now under the control of Granit Gaming. And Granit is looking to see if they can maybe get that as well, but Leo is already up at the top line, moving in again. So Chris currently doing whatever he can to at least relieve some of the pressure that his team is experiencing here. That said, we have him with Neil Peasants on level 4, and also with a bit of a focus here on Masquerade for just a second, as they're starting to jump in. Masquerade himself is already low, and they might get the kill here, and yes, they do. First blood secured, in this case by Granit Gaming, as they go in for Masquerade, drop Maiev. That was a really cool setup for them. We have a couple of really nice combos also in this game, and especially when you have Maiev in your lineup, you can obviously start to really tether a hero back into a Blizzard, for example, a Cone of Cold, and really lock them down there. Galnagulna trying to help out a little bit, while we're having HeroesHype already just moving around at the bottom, seeing if he can maybe get a jump onto Junkrat here. In an ideal world, they would obviously like to also take the camp if they could, but we're still having both of the teams playing this kinda chill. Level 7 talents are definitely going to give a bit more of a power spike here now to the red team as well. In particular, when we're talking about the Celestial Attunement, it's obviously a really powerful tool to have in this setup. Chris, by the way, has played Leoric already several times in this tournament, and he actually went into Drain build on 13 and 16 every single time thus far. Masquerade gets out, the owl still hits him, but Galnagulna is not able to get the kill secured with it. Also at level 7 we have now given the axe for Mirrodin, so we don't see any shenanigans straight back into the Skullcracker, which had a little bit of a for like a day or two. It had definitely some popularity after the recent patch. By the way, this is also on the newest patch. The rest of the tournament was still on the old patch. This is on the brand new one. So the patch dropped right after day 1 of the tournament, and here on the second day, this is the patch with the Chen rework that we're currently experiencing here. Just in case some people were not quite sure about this. So if Blizzard keeps it up with the nomenclature, it should be patch 45.2, but currently they haven't added it to the launcher yet, so I'm not 100% certain, but it should be 45.2 then there in the end. With that said though, still the pressure against Haza and his boys down at the bottom of the map as Dibbles is attempting to steal this away. Nick now in the main tank role as we've seen in previous games. And he's actually done pretty well here. A couple of really nice games on the front line. Lauber is still facing off against him, and especially with Ana support from the back line, Nick is pretty much unkillable here. Hazops obviously is still waiting for level 10. He wants that nano boost. We're having a slight battle also here in the middle, and another one all the way up to the top. So on both of the lanes, we're now seeing 1 versus 1 setups, and it's all about trying to claim that first Dragonite. And as the game continues, obviously the decay is also scaling into that late game. We're only 5 minutes in, so a Dragonite at this point in time would probably not really get much more than a wall. Maybe with a bit of help also a fort. But then later on, these bastards are hitting like trucks. But it's level 10 abilities that we're again looking for. And with ETC played in this particular position, it should be a stage dive play that we're seeing from them. Nice dodge. Masquerade with again the wall of the Wardens. Also Muradin in slight trouble. Eats a lot of the damage here. Needs to be careful. Gulnar tries to help him out. Riptide gets eliminated as Junkrat is trying to get an angle in, but not able to really pull it off. Muradin has so far 11 stacks, by the way. We also have level 10 abilities now in, and it seems like Chris is going to die here. And yep, that's the first stack for Ty. Gets the ult through, and with the last rights here, we have now Dibbles falling, and that's of course cooldown reduction, but a counter kill at the bottom of the map as Tyrande gets wrecked. Muradin also escaping after stunned into the wall by Nick. But both of the teams now with heroic abilities that gives us, amongst other things, also Apocalypse, the Entomb, and the Water Elemental. Alright, I'm actually going to fight for this one. Lauber is still sitting tight a little bit. Is jumping onto Hazops. Hazops is going to die. Hazops is going to fall 100%, but they still stole the camp away, so that's at least something. They stole the camp, but Hazops falling. They're trying to go for Lauber, can't get that, but the Stormbolt connects, and that might actually be the end of Diablo. Nick is trying to get out, and is about to escape. Last rights is off for another 7 seconds. That could have been, that would have been another stack for Ty right there. But he can't get that through. So with this, we're now having still the 3 kills against 1, so a lead for Granit Gaming so far in the game. It's a small one when it comes to kills, but it's definitely there. The 2 shrines controlled by their opponent though. And that also brings us back to the bot lane, where we still have a defense from Masquerade and the rest, as they are attempting to ensure that that shrine is not taken over anytime soon. And Entomb and the kill against Malthael. And this looks more and more like we're going to see another Dragonite here. The new washed up 2.0 version is actually starting to seriously threaten Granit Gaming in this grand final best of 3 series as well. They're heading in, and that's 1 tower already down. Nice positioning here also by Hazops, obviously towards the side, so that only one of the towers can hit. Waits for the minions to move in so that they soak the tower shots, so that the Dragonite has still 63% hit points as they're moving it down to the bottom of the map. ETC is a little bit of a linchpin here. I mean, for him, it's really one of those moves when he comes in with the stage dive that can change the outcome of a fight, and also initiate one, obviously. 17 stacks for Muradin. The dwarf doesn't only want to give him the axe, he wants to give him the hammer. And that's what we're currently seeing from Lauber, just like adding one in after another, attempting to make sure that he's getting the cooldown reduction through the auto attacks. And on top of that, also the pierce for his Stormbolt. So far, we don't see any of that. Still a leading experience, by the way, for Washed Up, despite the fact that they are behind in kills, but they've done well outside of that. So now we're having a move straight back into the middle, as we're currently having Lauber and Nick still fighting this out. But there's no objective on the map, so there's a little bit of a pause in the aggression that we're going to see from the teams here. But we're already heading into level 13. We are nearly 10 minutes in. We have seen a single Dragonite, hasn't really done too much. There's no fort down yet. The Bronzebeard Rage now taken for Muradin. In addition to that, the inevitable end for Ty's Malthael. And they're going to try and set another kill up soon for him, just to get that cooldown reduction. If you get that a little bit farther, it would of course be great for him. Once you get to a point where you can pretty much use it twice in a team fight, you're more or less Gucci. And towards the late game, if you have good stacking going, if it's a kill-heavy game, then you can achieve a lot with Malthael here. And he's going to be the biggest threat against Diablo, but only if he's not dead, because so far, that aspect of death has been doing a lot of dying. And it could be a second kill too. Granit stunned into a wall, and welcome to the Blizzard. ETC jumps in, but he's a bit late to the party. They might still be able to get the counter kills on the other hand. And they're currently trying to do exactly that. There comes the Stormbolt, and Masquerade gets out. And Lauber dies. Nicely done by Washed Up. Great play here. They save my F, they still get another kill. Muradin is dead, and that leaves us with 5 kills against 3 in favor of Washed Up. Granit Gaming definitely falling behind here. They made it all the way to the grand final, but at this point they are definitely starting to fall slightly behind. I mean, they're roughly a level behind right now. There's no real structural advantage just yet. We have the camp at the bot lane taken, so this could change things a little bit if they push together with it. But the question still remains, are they going to do that, yes or no? 21 stacks here for Muradin, so again, he's soon going to be able to rely on that cooldown reduction and the Pierce. That might change things in the team fights slightly. But with 5 kills against 3 and the turnaround's more or less already accomplished, Washed Up must be feeling pretty good here. I mean, again, Chris is also playing pretty well on Diablo. He's been pushed into the off lane today, and so far he has done a great job here. Already moving in against Svampgrotta again, and there's another entomb. 2 of the entombs already led to deaths on Malthael. Now Svampgrotta is trying to move into the middle to at least get a kill there too, and they might get that. And there's the kill. There's also the second stack acquired currently for Malthael. He's sitting at 2 right now, so he's still got the last rites through just in time. And that's 10 seconds cooldown reduction as is. Now with both of those shrines under the control of Washed Up, that was obviously desperately needed because they are still behind by a talent, and it's something they want to mitigate sooner rather than later. I gotta be careful with this. We also have, by the way, the Chain Gang, not to be mixed up with the Yang Gang. So Chain Gang already taken here, and in addition to that we have the Crew Chain now as well. A little bit of a different setup that we're seeing for most Mayavs here lately. Lauber gets, on the other hand, tethered straight back into the cage, and there's another Entomb and the APOC on top of it, and they're trying to get the kill against Granit Gaming, who actually might survive here. Jumps out and gets out, yep. The fort at the bot lane, by the way, through all of this, still in play, so this is looking good. And at the top of the map, this is where most of the action is currently happening. But I gotta give it to Washed Up. They are currently playing this extremely well here. 6 kills against 4. Trying to look for another one against Granit Gaming. The tether is there. Masquerade jumps in, wants the kill. Water Elemental is out as well. And Tazo is going in for it. And the flank takes Tyrande down. Well done, and nearly also the successful chase against ETC. But now, with everything else falling apart here, another thing that falls apart is the top fort. Actually, they're letting it go for now. They could have definitely pushed that, but they want the Dragon Knight. A little bit surprised, honestly, because the minions were just pushing in, and they had 3 heroes in the location, but they decided not to go for that. They got the Fountain already a lot earlier, so there is no sustain anymore for ETC, which is already a big win in the first place. Lauber again with another Stormbolt attempt. ETC already came in with the ult, but can't really force the fight. Wasn't needed at the top lane either anyways. And with that, we're now having also, once again, the fight over the bottom shrine for the time being. A lot of poke happening here. Rotation towards it. This is the one thing about Dragon Shrine. That's just constant rotation. So you're constantly trying to at least get one of those 3 points secured. Either have heroes in the middle that can interrupt the channel, rotate someone onto the other side of the map to regain control over one of the shrines, or play around it here in the middle somewhere. And that's currently exactly what they're trying to do. But with 7 kills against 4 on an entire level lead, we still have Washed Up ahead of their opponent. But it's starting to get a little bit closer. And I mean, again, we've seen a single Dragon Knight. That's all that we've seen so far. Both teams now with camps, especially the Bruiser camps, the Knight camps, the Heart camps. These things have just too many names. Over to the right and left side at the top. I currently take and allow the top lane to get pressured a little bit heavier. Here comes the Riptire again. That's not going to be enough damage. Khaldor cooldown as Duranda survives. But oh boy, that was nearly another kill for Washed Up. There was not much that was missing there. Masquerade is incredibly low. Can the last riots come through? But I think he still has the Wall of the Wardens, so needs to be careful. And Tomb this time does not connect properly, but ETC is dead at the front. That's a problem. They try to go for Lauba, but the dwarf jumps out and makes good use of those big calves of his. Also, single stack away from completing his baseline quest. And as I said before, we're having again the auto attack build for Chris, who went with Leoric onto the Spectral Leech and the Mithril Mace here, which he just completed. Again, the control and a potential Dragonite for the blue team. Quest completion is there. Dibble's moving into the middle. Tyranda's close by though. Could go for a few interrupts. Top lane has also been reclaimed now. Now we're still trying to fight this out, but can't really. Went also into the dwarf launch on level 16, so has definitely a little bit more wriggle room when it comes to mobility. And is already attempting to jump on Azorbs here, I'd assume. Stormbolt hits. We'll have to jump out for this one, I guess. ETC comes in. Lauba. Ooh, and he dies. Lauba dead, and that is starting to look really grim. If you lose your frontliners just like this over and over again, you're in trouble. Buried alive and taken to court and judged to be not worthy. That's what just happened to ETC and Tyrande, both of them taken out here. Chris is just absolutely killing it on Leo. I mean, he's nearly having the top. He has the top damage at this point in his team with 46,000, and he's just getting one amazing Entomb or Bird alive and after another. Now they're going for tie and get another kill. 12 kills against 5. This washed up iteration is truly rocking it. I mean, these bad boys are destroying today and yesterday. So now we have only 2 heroes in this game that haven't died yet. One is Diablo, the other one is Junkrat. Chirionto is still trying to get some value and pokes that Dragonite down as quickly as he can. We have Muradin also back to business, so he can help out a little bit, but the fact of the matter is still that we are having a fort or a keep that is in severe danger of being destroyed here, as now everybody, with the exception of Anna, starts to move in here, and 2 heroes are still dead for Granit Gaming. They're trying to go for it. Lauba's are sitting there, Dragonite is slowly falling, the keep is getting low. Can they save it? And the answer is no. The keep eliminated. Nicely done here. Well played. And now obviously catapult pressure coming through the bottom of the map quite reliably against the red team. So yeah, Granit Gaming, it's actually interesting to see this right now. They are really struggling against this washed up version that we have here. And I expected Granit to come out swinging, and I kind of guess they did at the beginning. But now that we're here in the late game, Washed Up has definitely found their rhythm, and they also try to use the level 20 to get another advantage here. Whereas obviously Granit Gaming is trying to do the exact opposite. They're just sitting tight, waiting for 20. That's where ETC comes into play, and there we have it. The Storm Talons are finally taken, which gives us now, of course, the rewind. ETC will be a little bit more interesting. Are we going to get that crowd pleaser right there? That would be still a great talent, especially if he plans on staying on that off lane a lot more and then jumps into the team fights. Also, Malthael, by now 3 stacks on the last rides, which means again that he's sitting at 15-second cooldown reduction, which is obviously quite important and also pretty impactful if you use it properly. But there's always You Can Cheat Death to be considered. Probably the most popular talent on 20, I would say, at least in the higher level of play. But let's have a look at what happens around the top side, because currently they're zoning them out from a rotation. So after pushing the lane out, Chris is now proxying this one, which means that the minions push into the fort, and this fort is gonna fall. There's the APOC as the fight also starts up. ETC goes down, has the death mosh, and it's a big one. And there comes another kill. 4 stacks now for Ty. They get Dibbles, they get Jaina. Nice Wall of the Warden saving Masquerade for another hot second. But Banana H is about to fall. No way for him to survive this one. And now with the Stormbolt and the... Oh my god! Nearly getting that second stun in. But yeah, Masquerade nearly fell. 100 hit points for him. just can't go into deep for that. Chris is still sitting there. The cooldown obviously now severely reduced on the side of Malthael, and he has it nearly up again. I mean, those last rights are gonna keep coming as if that continues. And with the shields falling, there is obviously an enormous amount of pressure against Granit Gaming. They're likely gonna suffer some damage on that core soon. But the fact of the matter is still, they can win this game. They can still take this game. If they get those kills like they just did in the last fight, you got a realistic chance. I've been talking about that cooldown on the side of Malthael for a long time now, but we already see him with an enormous cooldown reduction. With 20 seconds less, you can definitely fire that baby up whenever. Nobody dealing with the catapult here. That was a bit of an oversight, and that costs them another, I would say, 10% over here on the core. In the meantime, Malthael has fallen. So much for trying to get a little bit more out of that particular level 10 ability, but no one can cheat death. Has also been taken, and with that they can move straight up into the fight again for 5 versus 5. Khaldor gets tethered and just disappears. There's the ice block. They try to go for Masquerade, but not even that is working out. Masquerade is still alive, and now obviously another Dragonite is threatened by Washed Up. And that could potentially be the last one. That should actually be the last one. Now Chris still has his Entomb, his Buried Alive on cooldown. He missed the one earlier. Here comes the Cage on the other hand. One more kill is all that they need. Look at Muradin, no mana for him either. Like, he's running low. Here comes the attempted kill against Tai. Yes, he dies. Malthael is down. That should be another Dragonite. Hazorps is taking. He catches the grenade for the Dragonite. Plays a little bit Bruno Mars here. And now they're starting to move straight down to the bot lane. This should be the moment where they end the game. I mean, right now in this first game of this best of 3, we're having Washed Up with an absolute fantastic position to take the first map. They're looking fantastic. 16 kills against 8, doubling the kill count of their opponent. Chris missing a few more of those Buried Alive, but it doesn't really matter anymore. He really hit those that mattered. At this point, it feels like it is not going to be of any substance any longer if this is gonna get another kill or not. But they go for ETC. Svamkarota is about to die and bites the dust. That's now 18 kills against 8. The core falls, and this is game as Washed Up 2.0 takes the 1-0 lead in the best of 3 grand final at the HeroesHype Premier Series tournament. Game number 2, ladies. Washed Up 2.0. They're killing it. They are playing really well here, and they have another lead. Now they go up against Granit Gaming on Infernal Shrines. Our second map in that best of 3. And with this, we are currently looking at Banana H on Tyrande, Masquerade on Maiev, Nick on Tyrael, Hazorps on Sergeant Hammer, and we're currently having Pepika on Leoric. On the right side of the map, it is Granit with Svamkarota on Blaze, Tai on Kel'Thas, Galnagul on Malfurion, Sherionto on Hanzo, and Lauba on ETC. So Lauba himself now on ETC, taking over the Magic Cow and trying to play around that. But with this, we're currently also having Hazu on Hammer. It's Hammer time once again, and that's always dangerous, especially when you pair him off with the Tyrael that provides shields and sanctifications for him. They played Hammer a few times. Actually, in this tournament, they played Hammer on this map, and they absolutely demolished with it. So we'll find out if that's going to happen again. Tai then again is playing with Kel'Thas. That's already interesting. Kel'Thas again a hero that is kind of strong whenever there are clustered up fights, and that's usually the case when you're talking Infernal Shrines. And also Tumulus Spider Queen. One of the reasons why we're seeing the hero on those two the most. Maiev with a kill against Malfurion, and yeah, Masquerade destroyed at that point. He played this quite nicely. So we have top side now. Svamkarota and Chris locked into their one-on-one battle here. But the early kill already going to Washed Up. A slight lead in experience now too. We're having Chris trying to zone Svamkarota out and showing him the power of the mace to the face. And doing that pretty successfully thus far. And things are already looking good for Washed Up. Again, early in the game, obviously, comeback potential is always there. This is not a 6.5 out of 10 moment. But it is still a pretty nice situation for Washed Up to be in. You take game number 1, you set yourself up to a good lead in game number 2. Exactly where you want to be for this. And again, this is a best of 3. If they win this map, then this series is over, and Washed Up would have crowned themselves to be the champion of this particular tournament here. And already camps are taken now as well. That obviously gives you also a slight lead in experience at this point. We're having currently level 4 talents in their hands, which gives us one of the most important aspects of the Sergeant. We're getting the siege tactics right now, which will be followed by the hovering siege mode on level 7. Yeah, Lauber already slicing around there. A little bit mariachi. He's going to try and see what he can do against those boys later on. Maybe even with a good mosh pit. Let him dance, baby. Let him dance. Lauber was always a party animal. But yeah, they need to do something. I mean, seriously. Right now, you're looking at this lineup and you're thinking, okay, they definitely have tools. You have the power slide into roots, into a gravity lapse. That was a little bit old school even. There's a lot of control available. We're talking jet propulsion, the Hansa arrow after level 10. There's really a lot that they can play around with. The only question just is how well can they coordinate it, and can they get any of those hits together. And I'm not quite sure, because you have to deal with Hammer somehow. And the question then simply remains, how is that going to work out? Is it going to be Hanzo's arrow? But siege tactics are of course the problem. Is it going to be Khaldor's? They have to find some kind of tool to deal with Hazu, especially after he gets level 7. And then obviously later on in the game, level 16. But for the time being, we're already having the lead for Washed Up in the minion stacks. Hazu is slowly moving around here. And I mean, you should have thought that Granit Gaming took a lesson from history. If you know one thing, and then if you don't give the Germans any tanks, that usually doesn't go well. And yep, Hazu is already sitting there and is shelling away exactly like he does. So I mean, again, they're trying to always poke against him a little bit. You see that already from plays here, but Hazu's getting the damage out, and he's just playing this really well. Chris, on the other hand, trades his life in and activates the trade here. So with that, we're still having a slight lead for Granit. The problem is they're so far behind when it comes to stacks that it's nearly impossible for them to win this any longer, especially since Hazu is just taking the final few out. Masquerade falls though, so this particular Punisher comes at a price. 2 heroes down, but Chris was looking for the Khaldor's kill, couldn't find it, but Blaze is eliminated. Blaze down, and maybe even more. They try to go for Galnagulnar, but they can't quite get him here. So now the Punisher baited over. Again, it's only the first one, but with level 7, we're now having, as mentioned earlier, the hover siege mode taken, which is going to be a fantastic tool for him. Now, other talents obviously making it into play now as well. The sharpened arrowheads, we have burned flesh, and we're seeing the echo paddle for ETC, so that works as well. But yeah, right now we're having at the top lane still Chris rotating back into the middle. He's going to be the one that tries to get all of the lane experience, while the rest of the team focuses more on the camps, as you can see here. So we'll try and get a couple of kills in. So yeah, Chris this tournament just on the off lane. Actually, he played, I think, 1 map, 2 maps on Li Ming, so he went into the damage occasionally, but he's mainly been found in the off lane for this particular tournament. So they definitely role swapped things around a little bit compared to HEC times, at least the HEC players in the setup here. But at the bottom of the map, Hazu is doing Hazu things. He's hitting those right clicks. He's right-clicking that tower hard. And so far it's working. I mean, they already have the damage in, and if you look at the damage numbers, Hazu might not have the most hero damage yet. That's going to change soon, but then you look over to his siege damage, and especially considering the fact that he has not been rotating around like Leo, his numbers there are pretty impressive. But also in terms of hero damage, he should be able to take the lead over a hero like Maiev pretty soon, at the latest in the next fight, when he can make use of that hover siege mode that we talked about. Masquerade with an early wall of the Wardens here. Lauber not sliding in, doesn't want to hit the tower range. And talking about hitting things, they're trying to hit level 10 earlier. They're also trying to hit the quest on Khaldor. If they get that, that will make Tai a lot safer here. Stuns coming through. Masquerade in trouble. Masquerade dodges the gravity lapse. But there's just... he dodged like 4 things. But there's just too much to dodge. And he's not the only one that falls. Just like that, Granit Gaming with 4 kills against 2 and an early level 10. It is the mosh pit, by the way. So they have mosh pit now. They also have the Dragon's Arrow. having Hazo ops, then again, also the level 10 now, as does the rest of the team. So that March from Chris. Oh, not a March fan. Then again, there's a cage. Can try and lock them down here. And again, if you take March, one of the reasons why March sometimes is being picked on Infernal Shrines is because you have even more clear on the objective. If you use that in any shrine fight, you get value against the opponent, but you also get value against those minions, and that really helps you. So that's one of the explanations why we see that. Still not a fan. Still prefer a good Entomb, especially with Buried Alive later, but they don't really have a whole lot of burst damage, and normally when you have an Entomb, you're trying to do exactly that. Unleash the burst damage in your lineup and get the target killed quickly. Either way, in this case, it is March of the Black King. We have also the BFG taken from Hazo Ops. So the Shrine activates, and Hazo is already in position. I mean, Hazo is already in position right there and is starting to get his thing. And yeah, they start to take a small lead, but again, Gravity Lapse is missing. You see? Nice setup that we had there. But at this point, again, a slight lead for the blue team already. Everybody jumping in here with, again, the cage being dropped. Ult's already out. That's also true for the bunker. Here comes the arrow against Hazu. Banana Age is also low. Hazu with the BFG immediately. 12 against 15. That's a stack count. And there's the Jet Propulsion with a triple hit from Swamp Grotta. And they do well. Granit Gaming actually is doing well here. That stun just barely didn't connect with Blaze though. Could have maybe been an opening for Washed Up to fight back into this, but now they're starting to lose ground. Granit Gaming had a couple of really cool connects here and is now starting to push them in right away towards the objective. And that seems to be the case. I mean, 3 left? There's no way for Washed Up to get this. Just a bit of AoE dropped onto that and they're going to take it. 38, 39, and there it is. We got the 40. Are we going to see a kill before the Punisher comes out? There's the Sanctification. They're trying to follow it up. Can they get the tether or anything? No. Swamp Grotta goes down. And ETC dies too. The double kill. Nicely played here. Well done. So we have a similar situation on both sides. A team wins the Punisher, but then loses out on the... well, loses 2 heroes. And therefore is in trouble. Also heard, by the way, in the meantime, that apparently that pick into March was a misclick, and that explains things a little bit more. Again, the analysis from earlier definitely still stands. One of the reasons why you sometimes see March, despite the fact that in this case it was a misclick on this map, is still the added value on the shrine itself, but on Leo, Entomb is the choice. I mean, seriously, there is pretty much... barely. There's kind of no... Entomb is for Leo a little bit like Calamity for Li Ming. It is kind of mandatory. And if somebody tries to tell you that you can go full orb build, then you can tell them that they are full of shit, because that is definitely not true. So, yeah. But either way, in this case, March is still not... I mean, there are worse maps to misclick into March. Let's just put it like that. As it stands, though, the teams are both on level 13. We have 4 kills against 4 kills. And not a single fort has fallen yet. Not one. So, at this point, we're currently still having at the bot lane Lauber sitting around here. Keep in mind, he didn't go into stage dive, so he is in the main tank position right now. He didn't go stage dive, which also means that there's no global play. Yeah, holy ground, nicely done, forcing out the ult from Blaze. But they are still able to take that here, so yeah. Well done, well done, well done. Okay. But yeah, with that, we're now also having Swamp Grotta trying to lock down Maiev with the rest of the team. And Masquerade touches out on that with the Vault of the Wardens. Nicely done. Next shrine also activates topside, by the way. So, yep. With this, we're currently having, amongst other things... well, I mean, Nick already had a couple of cool moments here. The Holy Ground against Blaze was pretty nice. Cutting him off, forcing the ult out. Didn't really do too much. They wanted the kill. The problem is, if you force an ult at this point in time, you usually don't get a whole lot out of it. Simple reason, the objective spawns so far out that you normally get the cooldowns back. It's one of the reasons why you sometimes see Hanzo throw a random arrow out after the Punisher has been defeated or shortly after, simply because he knows if he doesn't hit it, it usually doesn't matter too much because a lot of teams will try and play it a little bit more secure until the next shrine is up. So in this case we haven't seen that, but that's sometimes the case, and it's always one of these high risk, high reward gambles. Arrow actually comes through and connects this time. That might have been an error a little bit too late, but at the same time, no, there's also the counter with the Sanctification, so this was a proper fight attempt. 16 is close, which is one of the reasons why they actually try to get the arrow kill here, because they were trying to force the fight before that 16 talent becomes an issue. Nice lockdown against Tyrael. He jumps out. The BFG is being used as well, and we don't have a single kill just yet. So this currently still works. I mean, at this point, we're having 16 pretty much around the corner. Leo is currently getting that. So Chris is at the bottom of the map right now, securing the talent. And this time actually doesn't go into his previously used build that we saw in every single game where he played the hero. So he actually goes straight into Ominous Wrath and Royal Focus, the standard build for Leoric, and doesn't focus into those auto attack talents with the Mithril Mace on 16 that we've seen previously. We still have the Giant Killer now, and that's obviously a massive game changer. Hazorps is dishing out even more damage than before, and he was already an absolute beast on that setup. 27,000 damage is underlying that. And also having, obviously, Maiev on a pretty good counter damage as well. Slight lead now in the stacks, 4 washed up. No 16 for Granit Gaming, which definitely forces them into a more defensive position here. They have to be a bit more careful. They really need to make sure that they are homing everything in. And that is definitely true for that arrow here. That nearly takes down Banana Age, but they just don't quite get the kill. And there's the counter. 1 down, 2 down. The tether, and then the last hit from Duranda as Blaze goes down shortly after Malfurion falls. And with those 2 kills, we're talking 6 kills against 4. And we have, again, very, very sweet setup here for another Punisher about to be claimed. And this one, as Chris is going for the last few swings, should definitely net them a fort. I mean, right now you already have that wall destroyed, as I said previously, the Hover Siege mode and Giant Killer, obviously big game changers, and Hazu has just all the time in the world to unleash that auto attack force now onto the structures and take this one down. That's an easy one, of course, to claim. And they might actually be able to go a little bit deeper than that. Having currently Maiev sitting at the side here. Trying to wait this out a little bit and see if she can jump over and maybe get a good tether against someone. So far, that's not happening there. And let's see. Quick move into the middle. Punisher still being dealt with. Baited over the wall. Shirionto and Swampwater currently dealing with that. But it also offers up an opportunity in the middle where another fort might actually fall. And honestly, if not fall, then at least it's going to be really low on HP. They're trying to burn the minions down so nobody can invade anymore, but Tyrael is already providing that shield there. And they left behind the Punisher at the top. Now, it didn't really do too much yet, but it definitely does a little bit of damage onto that keep itself. And the wall has also been opened up. So not too bad. This fort nearly destroyed, and obviously we are talking about a pretty decent advantage in experience by now as well. 18 versus 16, make it 17. That's a 1.5 level lead. Chris might fall though, and turns around with a march and gets the value. Runs away, spreads the love to Banana Age. They tether the cage, and Duranda. She dies first. They're trying to get another kill, but the mosh pit. Mosh pit, baby. I always knew that Tyrael, in his heart, I mean, I knew that Tyrael had the big bad moves, that that boy can dance. And down to the bottom of the map, we're currently having Hazorps sitting there. Chris, the 2 of them, just chilling around. And here comes Masquerade. They nearly got a couple of kills. That cage wasn't too bad, and it really looked like they could get a kill in there. But then after Duranda falls, the sustain obviously fell apart. And that was one of the big moments for now. So it's 18 versus 18 all of a sudden again. And let's see what else we're going to have as we're heading into the next objective, I'd say. Because this one should be announced soon, just in time for the other 2 to rejoin. Now, Sanctification is still out. But yeah, things are definitely starting to open up a little bit. I mean, look how close this is. This is 6 kills against 6 kills. And we're having also nearly the same levels right now for them. We definitely are going to see the same talents in that last fight. Unless there's something happening right now that would prevent that. Maybe another forced fight, but there's another camp taken, for example, as they're heading in. We're currently having basically everybody just going straight for the camps here, trying to get those shaman camps, trying to get the experience. Still a decent lead for Washed Up with this. I would say like they get the level 20 a little bit faster, but I'd be surprised if it really plays a big role for the shrine itself. Maybe the timing is there. Chris, yeah, he's got to get away from this one too. Yeah, no big problem here for him. Ty is just sitting there. He wants to actually time this. Both of the teams have done the exact same thing. They're prepping the camp before they're taking it. You want to time it with the objective. And the level 20 is nearly there. HeroesHype obviously has to be cautious too. Currently sitting down at the bottom of the map. Probably feels a little bit weird. As Hammer, especially, is sitting there as like, team? Not quite sure where they are. Someone get me out of here. So yeah, Ty gets actually hit by that owl, but they know that everybody is doing the same thing. Yeah, and after that misclick into March, we're having Chris committing with a death march right there. So he is going to apply that drain later on. And obviously we have the ultra capacitators now also taken for Sergeant Hammer. And it's Hammer time. Shrine's activating, 6 seconds, 20 about to drop into the hands of Granit Gaming. So it is pretty sweet right now, because that is a 20 versus 20 fight, but there is a tiny lead for Washed Up as they get the first 10 stacks. But yeah, now Leo definitely is going to be able to get a little bit of value out of that ult. Okay, there's already interrupt potential. There's the ult from Chris. Gets the drain on against 2 of them. Starts to move out here. HeroesHype's obviously attacked. Siege tactics already being used as well, but they need to get rid of Hammer somehow in the back line, and that's a massive problem at this point. Having, amongst other things, now also the flamethrower. It keeps Ty safe, and Ty is using that flamethrower against HeroesHype the entire time. He's not the only one. Girionto with Hanzo is trying to get the final few hits in as well, but Hanzo escapes, at least for now. They're still behind. Oh, there's the mosh pit! And do they get the kill? The cage prevents the worst. A fantastic cage, and what a BFG. The big fucking gun right to the face of Khaldor. He drops, and Malfurion also dies, and now with those 2 kills it's a 5 versus 3, and they are on the hunt. That Punisher, he just doesn't give a shit and is already moving straight into the middle. Lauber goes down, and with 3 heroes eliminated, the top lane that has been pushed in thanks to the shaman camp could be assailed now too. Masquerade gets actually called back. He was already on the way to the top and said, boys, we get the keep here, and everybody else was just like, dude, no, screw that, we go middle. And they get the kill against Svamgota. Oh my god, absolutely perfect for them. This will be game. I mean, they have to, right? They get their keep pretty much for free at this point, and there's 4 heroes down still with 19 seconds on Khaldor's remaining. They're trying to get the final hit in against Hanzo too, but this is just an absolute massacre. Washed Up, they dominated this tournament, and they win the grand final as well with a 2-0 victory against Granit Gaming. Exceptional play today by that mixed team, and a really nice grand final from them too. GG and well played as they take the final series with a 2-0. Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video, and I hope that you enjoyed the match and the commentary. The remaining time of the video has been added to protect against spoilers caused by the length of the video itself. But please keep in mind, though, that this does not only mean more work for me, but also has a negative impact on the popularity of the videos and the channel because of YouTube's algorithms. It would be greatly appreciated if you'd consider supporting the channel and help me to continue the daily esports coverage by clicking the join button below the video or supporting me through the Patreon page linked in the video description. Thanks a lot for the support, and see you guys next time.